Hi guys! So today we are going to do another DIY project. As you can see, we have some paints here, we have some folders, um, notebooks, Mod Podge,
Highlighters,
some
washi
tapes, thank
glue
you.
guns.
Yep, so we have all of that because we're going to do a school supplies DIY. So
School's coming up for me as well.
yes, school is coming up for everyone. So we're going to go ahead and start. So first, we're gonna start with a notebook. All these pictures that I have are printed out from Google Chrome search bar, of course. So we have a scrapbook paper here. So we're gonna position it on top of the notebook to see, of course, the sizing of it. Then we're gonna go ahead and use a Mod Podge. But before I do that, I want to put a blank piece of paper in between the pages, the front page and the first page first, so I don't accidentally paste or glue it as well. So now go ahead and put a bunch of Mod Podge all over the front page, top page, whatever it's called, you know, that, the covering page. So now we're gonna go ahead and put the scrapbook paper on top of that. Now do the same thing to the other side of the notebook. Now while waiting for it to dry, I will go ahead and cut these pictures. Now all done cutting. So now we're gonna go ahead and cut the excess scrapbook paper from the notebook. So now we're gonna go ahead and see how we want to position all these pictures in here. So I'm just gonna keep arranging and trying to see what kind of style I'd like it to have. Then we will go ahead and glue it with a Mod Podge. Ta-da! Now on to the back of the notebook. And we will do exactly the same thing we did in the front page as well. And here you go. So here's another notebook. And we will basically do the same thing we did earlier, but this time, of course, different styles, different printouts. So we will go ahead and do the same things we did. And second notebook done. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the glue sticks, whiteouts, erasers, some highlighters, markers, and here are all the printouts that I have in here. Oh, don't forget, I also have a ruler. It's coming. There you go. So yep. So I'm gonna cut these pictures as well. So now that it is all cut out, I paired it up to where it should be. So here we go. Then we will go ahead and use a Mod Podge, of course, as usual. Then I decided to put a Mod Podge all over the picture. You can do that to make it a little bit glossy afterwards when it dries out, of course. So I will do the same thing for the glue stick. Now for the pen, I decided to do a different technique. So for this one, instead of using a Mod Podge, I will be using a double-sided tape, just to show you different ways of doing it, whichever one you want to do, of course. Just make sure that if you're going to use a double-sided tape, you use a very good brand, okay? Because if you use those cheap ones, it's not going to stick properly. Now on to the highlighters. I will do the same technique that I did with the pen. Now for the ruler, I decided to make it simple, so I'm only just gonna use this tiny strip of printed Tata. Just so you know, I printed it the way that it fits like that. So it's not from the website, but I made it that way. The same thing for the eraser one. I made it as big as what I think it would be. So instead of printing it out from the images that you save, I actually copied it into a Microsoft Word. Now time for the pencils and markers. I have to paint the wordings in the marker. That's the reason why I wasn't able to do it earlier. So first, we're gonna go ahead and paint the markers with the color white to cover up the wordings that's in there. Now time to paint the pencils with different colors. Now all done. So let's start doing the markers first. And I decided to do the double-sided tape again, of course. Now on to the pencils. These are the cutouts that I cut out for the pencils. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put it in a big tape, like so. And then what I will do is cut it out. Leave a space, okay? Don't cut it out to the same size. as your printed paper. Make sure you put a space in between it. Now let's fast forward to where I finally finished cutting all of it and putting the tapes on it. And here I'm just deciding which of the printouts I would like to put in each colored pencils. So here we go. And now that I've decided that, I will go ahead and stick them on the top of the pencil by the eraser. Unfortunately, I guess the glue gun doesn't work. So, not that the glue gun doesn't work, but that technique doesn't work apparently. So I decided to use a mounting tape. I will just cut it into a very thin strips and then, you know, put it like that. That's what I ended up doing. And you know what? Those actually stayed onto the pencils. And all done.